Hello everyone and welcome back to the Integrity Botanicals YouTube channel. Today I am doing a foundation review. I am trying to be better at these because I feel like it's one of the most difficult things to shop for online, and rightfully so. You want to find a good color because even if the formulation is amazing, if the color doesn't work, chances are it's not going to work out in the end. And today we are going to be discussing the Vapour Velvet Glow foundation. Now, I haven't discussed any of the Vapour foundations, at least not in a very long time. The Velvet Glow is a newer launch. It did come out with their rebranding, which happened within the last year or so, something like that. They do have two other foundation options. I do want to review those for you as well, and then once I do those reviews, I'll do a comparison video. But today, this is where we are going to start, and that's because it's a foundation that I actually really enjoyed during quarantine because I think it goes on very, very quickly. It provides a really nice amount of coverage and also looks nice on the skin. So we'll get there. But first up, let's start with the packaging as we always do. I really enjoy the packaging of this product. So it is in this really beautiful cornflower bluish purple type of shade. It's a small bottle, and what I mean by that, it's compact. It's not at all too small in size. It's your typical 30 milliliters, 1 ounce of product. Very customary as far as foundation's concerned. When you screw off the top here, it does have a little squeezy tube, and I love this applicator because it's a serum foundation, so it's really runny, so it can get incredibly messy, and I think this is the most mess-free way to dispense the product, so I absolutely love that. It will leak a little bit in the cap, but it doesn't leak all over and create a big old mess, which I love. So this foundation, it does retail for $48. It does require a very good shake prior to use. You can hear that little ball in there kind of helping to swish the product around. Unlike the Gressa, I don't think you need to shake this quite as much, but still give it a good shake just so there is a nice even dispersing of pigments and oils and all of those other ingredients, if you know what I mean. I don't know why that took me so long to get there, but you knew what I meant. We have 10 shades. I hope that, you know, with everything going on in the world, they do decide to release more, but if you can find a shade in this foundation and you do have the correct skin type, I will leave a photo of all the shades swatched for you down below, and I will be discussing the shades here shortly before I get into the demonstration as well. So $48, it is a fully vegan formulation, if I did not say that either. It is a weightless, velvety, demi-matte finish. So demi-matte finish is where it's that kind of more velvety texture where, because it's a serum foundation, you will notice that in some areas there is a little bit of a sheen on the skin, but it's not at all overly glowy or wet or sticky or tacky. It is a finish that if you put a powder on top of it, it can give you a really nice, super soft matte finish. And that's not usually my go-to, but it does look super skin-like. Now, the trick with this foundation is to, first of all, make sure that it's shaken very well. It is that more serum-like foundation. That's just the way it goes. Second of all, if you have dry patches on the skin, so if you have a really active breakout and you're amidst treating it, and so you're using different acids or acne treatments that are drying out those areas, probably not going to be the best option for you. One of the other Vapour foundations will. I really think this is best for a normal, leaning a little bit dry. If you have an oily skin, you can absolutely powder this and get this to last. I think anywhere from like normal to combo. I think normal to combo is a good way to say it. That way, if you're a little bit dry, you're a little bit oily, just kind of somewhere in the middle. And of course, if you have normal skin, you can use essentially any foundation. Just really avoid this if you have any sort of glaring dry patches on the skin, because it will accentuate those areas. But even though I have a more dry, dehydrated skin, I do not find that this foundation kind of goes into the skin, provided that my skin is properly prepped. And when I get into the demonstration portion of this video, I will discuss that a little bit more at length. But anyways, how I like to use this, and I will show you, but I'm just discussing it so I can talk about wear time of this product. If you have your face mask on and you're wearing it all day, you will notice that it will start to sort of break apart around the nose. I find that that is just another more difficult added layer. But if you're wearing your mask, if you're going out to dinner and it's for a very short period of time, to and from the table, to and from the restroom, I think that this foundation will look amazing and hold up great. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I really was experimenting with this a lot during quarantine because it's so easy to apply, and I really like it layered with a powder foundation just to sort of lock it in and prevent it from being a little bit more transferable, because I do find that more serum-like foundations, because they're so thin, can sit on top of the skin a little bit and not at all look makeup-y, because in fact I think they look the opposite. It's just like if you have your phone on your ear or anything like that, you will notice that sort of transferring. So setting the skin, whether it be a translucent powder or a colored powder, is a really great way to do that. But otherwise, I really like the way that this looks on the skin. I think it's one of those that actually it looks a little bit better once you've had it on the skin for like an hour, and the natural oils allow it to sort of absorb and just really melt into the skin. But I love this for the ease of use and immediate coverage, and I also really love it for how it looks on camera. It looks beautiful on camera. If you're taking photos, it just looks really, really flawless. And I mean, you be the judge. I have worn it in a couple of videos already. This is the first time I'm really sitting down and sharing with you how I like to wear this product. Okay, so I want to jump into the demonstration portion of this video. I think that is the most helpful part, but before I do, let's discuss the shades. We're just gonna power through them real quick, and then I will leave a swatch photo for you down below as well, in an effort to help you choose your shade. So first up is the shade 090. 090 is described as a light neutral. Then we have the shade 100. I think 100 is actually a bit lighter than 090. This is described as a light pink tone. Then we have the shade 110. 110 is also a light shade, just a bit deeper, also with a pink undertone. We have the shade 115. 115 is a light shade with a neutral undertone. Then we have the shade 117. 117 is a light shade with a yellow undertone. Then we have the shade 120. 120 is a light to medium shade with pink undertones. Then we have the shade 123, which is a shade I predominantly use. I did mix it today because I have a little bit of color. And this is a light to medium tone with yellow undertones. Then we have the shade 125. That is the shade I mixed it with, and that is a medium complexion with yellow undertones. It's very, very golden. I think it was perfect for me because I have a suntan going on, so it made it look very, very natural and was a really easy mixture to make. Then we have the shade 130. 130 is another medium yellow tone, just a little bit more rich. And finally, we have the shade 135, which is a medium tan tone with yellow undertones. I of course hope that they're making more shades. I'm sure they are, given everything that's happening in the world right now, but that's what we're working with for the time being. If you can find a shade for you, like I said, that swatch photo will be down below. Now let's jump right into the demonstration portion. Okay, hi, here's my face. We're going to of course apply the foundation. I feel like that is the most informative, helpful part. So I did go ahead and I have on the Evolve Under Eye Serum. I love that stuff. If it's back in stock, I will link it down below. I do also have a little bit of the Agent Nature facial serum that I am in love with. It's very oily texture, so it provides a lot of hydration. And I did, of course, do my skincare earlier today, just like a little bit of a layer to work off of. But because this is a very velvety foundation, and any of these serum foundations, even the Gressa, even this one, anything that's quite like it, if you have more dry skin, you do need to take this additional step, or you will notice that it's going to cling to the dry patches. So if you have actual dry patches of skin from acne healing or something like that, I would recommend doing some light exfoliation beforehand. That way the foundation can lay as nicely as possible. With that being said, this is a perfect opportunity to use a primer, something like this, especially this primer from Vapour. So this is the Essential Daily Primer, and this is really just a fuss-free, more moisturizing base, because all primer really is to have a good foundation for your makeup to go on top of. Yes, some primers do provide more long wearing properties, but something like this really, like, it's just a lotion really, is just to make sure that the skin is properly prepped because if it's not, that's when you will notice your skin's gonna start to drink up the foundation, or it will start to fade and break apart. So I'm just going in with, like, you know, a good healthy dollop of this, and I really recommend this for all skin types prior to this foundation, but especially those of you who have a more dry skin. So it's a little bit of like a herbally scent, but nothing too crazy. Take it a bit down the neck. So super quick, easy. That's what I really like this foundation for, is really just to add an additional moisturizing layer that's not overly greasy or oily. Now for the foundation, you already saw the packaging that it comes in, so it does require a bit of a shake. So I'm going to, I got a little bit of color, as you can see. So typically I wear the shade 123. It's a little light for me, so I'm gonna mix it a bit with the shade 125, just so I can get the best color for me. So I'm going to work on shaking this up, mixing it on the back of my hand, and then we will get to applying this product. So now that I've got my little mixture happening, I'm just going to take it. I always work stuff on the back of my hands. Even if the shade was great for me, I would be dumping it on the back of my hands first. And you really, this product spreads a lot. So you need no more than what I am working with right here. And I'm going to blend it in 1 second. I'm just going to clear off my dirty finger. One moment. All right. So I actually love to use this product with the foundation brush that's also from Vapour. This brush is $46, I believe, but it's a really nice, soft, synthetic buffing brush. They're similar to it, but I just find that this one pairs really, really nicely with this foundation. So I'm just going to work on brushing this into the skin. So I kind of will first just kind of spread the product, and then I'll go in with these more circular motions to kind of buff it into the skin. But this is really quick. When we were still under quarantine, which is when I really gave this foundation like a good test, I was wearing this really often, because look at how quickly you could really slap it on. Like, I'm here, sitting here discussing it with you and just kind of taking my time a little bit more just to be as detailed as possible. And it's just like gorgeous how this stuff goes on. So I'm just going to work this into a little bit more buffing motion, just so it sits as nicely as I want on the skin, and making sure that I'm getting it down the neck so there is no harsh line. And what I will do sometimes is the nose area is always a tricky part for foundation, so I usually do there and a little bit on my chin. And then I'm just gonna put a touch more of this right here, wherever I get red, a touch. You really don't need a lot. It is a buildable foundation, however. And I am just going to finish buffing that in. And then I will get you guys a little closer so you can see exactly how it's sitting on my skin. But the mixture of those two colors is actually really good for how my skin is right now, and I can always add a little bit more depth, because I do need a little bit more. I'm a little bit darker with the bronzer, but as long as your tone's right, you can typically make it work with either using a nice brightening under eye concealer if it's a little bit too dark for you, or you could do what I've done and do a mixture of the two shades, or just really add some nice bronzer. That way you could deepen it up a touch as well. Okay, so I'm bringing you in super close so you could see it. So though it has a demi-matte finish, you can see it's a little bit shiny here, but I'll tell you how we remedy that and how I actually don't mind it. So we have a really solid medium leaning full coverage happening here. My forehead looks pretty perfected. Everything here looks really great, natural, thin texture to the skin. The only thing, it is one of those foundations that is a little bit more transferring. I think it's because that serum-y, very, not oily, but obviously there's oils in there, but it's a more oil-like texture. So I like to set this with powder, and I do think it will increase the longevity of this as well, especially since we do have to be wearing masks and everything like that right now. So what I like to do is, yes, this looks great on its own. I would just do it, like, put on my concealer, powder this area, go on with my life. I do like that demi-matte finish that it provides, and I think the coverage is perfect. I would not spot conceal anything on my face. I would just go underneath the eyes. But what I will do, and I'm gonna zoom you out just a touch for this part, what I will do, because I still want you to be very much up close so you could see it, is I will go in with a powder that has a little bit of color. So this is a great way to increase the coverage a touch as well as set it. I love the Antonym Baked Powder Foundation. That's what I'm going to be using today. I don't really often wear this on its own, though it looks very nice on its own. It will give you a touch of coverage. I'm going to use this big ol' Antonym #1 brush, or any big fluffy powder brush that you have, because I like that this is going to cover a lot of surface area, has a little bit of density, so I'll be able to sort of just like buff it into the skin, but it will also distribute it in a nice lightweight way that won't add a ton of more coverage. So I'm just going to go in with the shade Nude. It's like we're doing a little bit more than a dusting, but we're not using a big buffer brush to really work it into the skin. And this is going to just take down that slight shine that we had going there, as well as just lock the makeup in place, which is really important. Okay, so here's my skin with that powder on. You can see it took care of that shine right there. That was like a little bit not in my favorite spot. You can see my smile lines are being very mildly accentuated. That's super common for me. That's not really something I can avoid unless it's like a serum, not a serum foundation. That's what we're using. I mean like a tinted moisturizer. That's really what I'm getting at. But you can see it just has a nice skin-like finish. It just has really, really nice coverage and looks just overall very natural on the skin. I think the big tip with this foundation is to ensure that your skin is properly prepped, and that goes for any single skin type. So I hope that you found this demonstration portion of the video helpful. All right, everyone, that is it. So that is my Vapour Velvet Glow foundation review. I did hope that you found this helpful. If you do have a more normal to combo skin type, I think you will really, really enjoy this for the ease of use. Simple ingredients. Goes on just beautifully. Really, really nice coverage on here. We are working with a really strong medium to full coverage that is slightly buildable as well. Really, really lightweight finish to the skin, almost feels like nothing. And then it pairs really beautifully with powder as well. So nothing to really not love. And if you do anything on camera, it looks great on camera. Like from this distance, you can't even see that my chin's a little bit dry. So that's really the only people I would say to just kind of avoid this. If you really have an issue with things clinging to many of your dry patches, then yes, but otherwise, I really, really enjoy it. I hope you found this video helpful. Do not forget that swatch photo is gonna be in the description box down below, as well as a direct link to this product. I will also include a link to the Vapour Foundation brush that I love so very much. This is a great pairing. I think it really helps build up that coverage as well. Dense synthetic brushes often do. And I will also link the primer that I used if that helps. And I will link the Antonym Powder Foundation as well. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Before you go, if you could please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. I upload videos here twice weekly. I don't want you guys to miss it. Check out the description box down below for everything you need to know while you're down there. Follow us on all of our social media. Leave me a comment down below if there's anything I can do to help you out as far as purchasing this foundation. Any questions you may have. Otherwise, I'm here to help. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the love and support, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.